they got to do here on the street. I need all of you to stand up. Come on, stand up for the new covenant. Grand Apperception, the one, the only. The Grand Apperception, the one, the only. The Grand Apperception, the one, the only. Welcome, our brother, your brother. Now, son, Amun-Re Sen Atum-Re. Better known as Brother POLIGHT. Let's put the fire on it.
Let's go, POLIGHT.
I want my team up. Hold on. Y'all come on stage, man. I just want to call the brother. Tell him come on stage real quick, man. Word. Simon, you stay on, man. You know you're part of the team. It's a special day today. It's a very special day. I'm real appreciative. Come on, Hank. What you doing?
The new member of the Nu-Covenant, Minister Ink.
What up, King? Yeah, so I just want to give my brothers a round of applause for just supporting the movement, supporting myself, supporting the community in general. It takes a lot of humility for black men to come under the umbrella or accept leadership from another black man. So I want to thank these brothers on the stage and the brothers and sisters that's off the stage that's supporting this new covenant movement. We appreciate you. Come on, Mike. Get up there too, Mike. What's up? You gotta get to yours. Well, I want to appreciate my brothers. You know, we got brothers who's crib, brothers who's blood, who come out and do security in the name of black power. That's right. You gotta appreciate that. Woo! My sister, come Michelle. I was born Michael. That's my sister Michelle, my older sister. This is the first class she ever came to since I've been teaching. So I really wanted to give her thanks. It's the first time I ever kissed my sister. We always had, she used to whip my ass when I was young. But I appreciate it. I just want to thank my sister because this means a whole lot to me to have at least one biological family member here supporting what I do. And then her son, who joined Nu-Covenant. Come on, Quay. He's starting cool. He can come over here. My dude, he converted at the Ali Muhammad debate. He was the guy that was holding the sign on the stage, flipping it, real talk or BS. He was the guy that was on the stage. After that debate, he got locked in. He really liked what we was doing. He was wondering where this was at the whole time. He rough around the edges, got a million tattoos, but you know, wild as hell, but he calmed me down. So if you catch him doing something wild, he's a new covenant member in training. So forgive him if you see him running amok on the streets. We working on it, brother. This is my man right here too. We good. I'm gonna get on with the presentation. I just want to thank y'all brothers. It mean a lot to me, you know what I mean? Y'all can take the corners up here at the top. Y'all take this. Oh yeah, my man right here went to Egypt with me. My man went to Egypt with me. How many of you know Jimmy Cliff, reggae legend? Come on, Ali, come up here real quick. How many of you know Jimmy Cliff, the reggae legend? Put Bob Marley on. That's his two sons right here, Nu-Covenant. Yeah. And this brother drove with me all over the country. My personal driver. No matter what I ask, no matter what hour, no matter what time. I mean, my wife be sending him on shoe runs. Like, I gotta get shoes. And Ali be like, no, I'm good, but like, I'm arguing with my wife. He like, I got you, brother. I trust this brother with my family. I can leave my home. And this man be in the house with my wives and children, and he's respectful. He's a black man, he's strong, he's I love my brother. was just as fly. And he went to Egypt with me, and it was a lot carrying technology. We would go to bed 2, 3 in the morning, wake up 7 in the morning, and have to go around videotaping hours of footage, dumping it back into the computer, making space, carrying cameras all over Egypt. We in the hood in Egypt because I'm like, yo, I want to get into the hood. I want to see everything that's going on. And he wasn't scared. He went right with me, and not much people would have did that. So he rolled with me. He protected me, protected my wife. You know, we protect each other. But everywhere I went, this brother went with me in Egypt. Everywhere I went. Prayed in the pyramids with us and my wife. Did the chanting in the pyramids. Went to the different tombs. So, I mean, it was an amazing experience, and I'm glad I got to share it with my brother over here. It's nothing like it. Don't even go to Egypt by yourself. Go with your family. You know, go with your brother. Go with your best friend. So when I say I love my brothers, I love them. Yeah. Alright, so I really appreciate, last of all, but not least, we appreciate all of you for supporting Sign TV, Sign Studios, Black News 102. Nu-Covenant TV, the community in general. Man, we support you for supporting yourself. We love you. Sankofa, you know, Imam Bashir, can't get enough of Black over your ass. The national spokesman, you can stand up, my brother? Come on, national spokesman of the House of Consciousness. You gotta give it to him. That's the guard right there. He did in the Ansars, New Black Panther Party, Hebrew Israelite. So you try to tell him something. There's a reason why he was positioned in the House of Consciousness. Because he knows what he's talking about. He's not guessing. He was part of the community. He was always a leader in each one of those communities. He wasn't just in there on the fly, on a humble tip. He was always leading.
That's right.
Okay? He saw me when I first came in. When I used to open up for the Black Panthers when they came into New York. And he was over there holding it down. That's how I met him. So, we're going to start. And I love this brother, so don't think I'm not going to do that to him. But you do know, this is Summer Jam for Brother POLIGHT.
Get him!
You never know who's going to be next when that Summer Jam stream. Or it wouldn't be a polite lecture if I didn't do it. Oh, my bad. I just got to get my brother. Come on up here, man. You can't do that. Come on, man. You cannot do that. This is one of the founders of Nu-Covenant. Not this brother here, but we gotta love this brother too. He showed me crazy support too. Now we gonna keep him up here. He showed me mad love. Straight from the car, we need anything picked up. But this man right here, when this thing first got built up, this brother was by my side.
That's right.
This brother saw the vision. He saw something in me. He didn't know he inspired me because I was inspiring him. He helped me put together quite a bit of services for the community. And he does this stuff with a great deal of integrity. This guy is a genius right here. Very humble, he ain't gonna tell you that. If he curses you out, he's kind of aggressive with the members. Because he wants to be better. So he deals with you on a level like a father, like an older brother. He'll push you to get the best results out of the services you're looking to get, because our services are partially in part do-it-yourself, partially in part will help you do it. But we have you do it yourself so you can see what's going on, so you don't think nothing is happening the whole time. So that's how the services are designed. And he'll tell you, you know, go to the county recorder, go to the miscellaneous index, and you call it in there scared, he's gonna tell you, boss up. Don't let them tell you other than what I taught you.
That's right.
So this is our head of the crown, supreme grand ambassador of our Nu-Covenant community, Luan Avram. And he's just a brilliant brother. Make sure you pick his mind. Talk to him when you get a chance. Don't let him go. You may not know when you see him again. It's very rare he makes appearances like this. That's my brother. I love him too, man. So now, and we got to give up to Brother Seti. Where's Seti at? Where's Seti go? You know, disappear somewhere? Well, we're going to give up to my man Seti too. Y'all know 2 years ago we was acting like cat and dog. Now today we're going to tear these Hebrews up together. Word. I just want to say that this is my G right here. I look up to this brother. just beginning. My brother was doing this before I got on the stage. I watched his debate and I wanted to debate right after that. And you know hip-hop, we want to get the best. So that's what we did. I'm like, I want the best. Now, if I can deal with this brother here, I can with anybody. You already know. So we had a good time, and it's a blessing that we on the same stage today doing our damn thing. So let's give us both a hand. I'm gonna make this dude proud. Alright, where you at, baby? Let's get it. So now, Exhibit A is what I like to call this situation right here. Today's event is called Pan-Africanism in Economics. So I just want you to listen to this, because many people say, why don't we just unite? Why you bother these brothers? But they don't realize, because they don't get as much attention as us, you don't realize how they constantly antagonizing us week after week. They're in somebody's basement in Brooklyn in a store that sells African items, anti-Africa in the basement of an African store. This is what they're doing. But because they don't get as much as views, when we say something back, it sounds like we don't want unity. But that is not the case, family. Because in between all those basement bashes they be having, we doing the work and we traveling all over the country, all over the world teaching. But every now and then, I come out for air and we gotta address these things so people understand what we're doing. So there's gonna be a great deal of knowledge disseminated today. But we need to understand what the spirit of these monotheistic religions are doing. What exactly are they inculcating into the minds and hearts of our people that will lead them to do certain things? Like, for instance, and I'm not mad at him. I actually appreciate this brother, because he let us know that today, the Hebrews, like Zion Lexington, intended on doing an event today to boycott and try to obstruct this Pan-African and economics event today. He told us, and he wasn't secretly recording, because that's whole shit. I don't do stuff like that. He was being recorded for an interview. So when he told us that they're trying to do an event on every day that we do something from this point forward, one, I said that don't make no sense, because you don't even do those kind of numbers. It behooves you to do it on a day where you're not doing something on the same day so you can get more people's attention. Two, Hebrews don't support Hebrews like we support each other in the Black Power movement. So it didn't make no sense to do that. Now, we don't believe in that God, but we damn sure unified. They be having classes with 5, 6, 7 different Hebrew camps and can't get 30 seats filled. But this hurt me when he told me this. Because even though we only banging on the knowledge. That's what I'm thinking about. I love those brothers as black men, because I know for the most part they believe that they want to, or they intend on doing well by their community. So for that alone, I don't hate those black men. I appreciate them. I appreciate the effort. But if you come into a scholastic arena and say you want to box, then you have to understand the rules of engagement. Because in a scholastic arena, you can only bring but so much belief to the table. So some arguments are better not had just because you don't have the educational tools or resources to have the conversation. I respect anybody who has a belief, because you have your right to your belief. Your experience with your creator is none of my business. But if you put it up for grabs for us to go into our own prospective diatribes, it then becomes my business, and you're going to have to take the backlash or whatever conversation we have from that point there forth. But if you don't take us up on the offer to have a conversation or a dialogue about your beliefs, then your beliefs are your business, and your experience with your creator is none of mine. And for that, I still have to appreciate you, because you was black before you believed. So that's how I am every day of the week. So don't ever think I hate these brothers because they believe something different. It's only when we get in the ring and they afford themselves the opportunity to have a conversation that I go in like that. But I don't just randomly go around everywhere trying to force people into a new way of thinking. I don't do that. I'm more focused on economics and Pan-Africanism. So let's just hear what my brother says out of his own mouth. You can play it. This is Silent and Divine and I on the floor.
That's not true. They are, because they having events on the same day.
You said they trying to boycott me by having a same event on my day. Now,
yes,
yeah, that's stupid. That's going to affect me or them?
That's what I'm saying. That's stupid. And what I'm saying is,
what I'm asking you is this: where are they having a lecture at?
See, he can focus on this shit.
They're having one out there in Atlanta because they have the camping trip, right? That Nazi's doing a camping trip.
Right.
They also have a lecture called Good Cop, Bad Cop, and they also have an event in New York at one of the congregations.
What does that say about your brothers? What does that say to you?
About them? That they obviously don't like you. They don't want to have nothing to do with you.
No, that's not what it
we're their God.
No, that's not what it says. These supposed to be men of God. They supposed to be men.
You should convene for your God, not because you're against God.
These supposed to be men of God. They supposed to be men.
You should convene for your God, not because you're against God.
So basically, we was asking our brother, what does that say about your brothers if the only reason they're organizing is not in the name of God, but because they're trying to spite us when we're having a Pan-Africanism and economics event? He said, here it is, the few people that's going to come listen to you are coming under the pretense that y'all believe in God and y'all just trying to organize people effectively and spiritually. Unbeknown to them, the only reason you're doing anything today is because you just want to spite us or impede on our functions. But these are people of God, you know. And then people say, why are you tripping? Because while we trying to do the work, we got our own people trying to work against us in the name of Pan-Africanism and economics. What part of that title resonates with people the wrong way? But it gets deeper. So we're going to go to the next one. Go next slide. So today is Pan-Africanism and economics, the religious perpetration of the Black Holocaust. Go to the next one. Because we're going to show you who created this hatred. We're going to show you who created the hatred in black people to work against black people. We're going to actually show you the outline. We're going to read it verbatim out of the culprit's mouth. So you can see where the behavior comes from, not my words, not their words. We're going to see who's the father of this wickedness. So go ahead, you can play this one. This is a clip of my brother who did a 3-hour lecture trying to convince the world my trip to Egypt was a green screen. He said the camels were rented on a Hollywood set. That's where I got the camels from. And the bodies were mock bodies in San Jose Museum. And I said, all this effort and energy from these Israelites to say, take away my Egypt trip, which means my wife has to be part of the conspiracy. Jimmy Cliff's son got to be part of the conspiracy. And what I'm saying is, if I could afford to simulate a fake Egyptian experience, a fake Nile River, fake camels, fake pyramids that I'm walking in and out of, it'd have been a lot cheaper just to go to Egypt.
That's right.
But why is it so important to take Egypt away? Because if I was part of a culture where every time people actually, where's the tangible evidence of the culture? Oh, because God's punishing us, he destroyed it. Oh, because the white man came and he destroyed it. Oh, he don't want no one to become part of Judaism or Hebrew Israelites, so he made sure he burned every single thing on the planet Earth. Where's the temples? Oh, we don't have no temples. Where's the knowledge? Because you say you built the pyramids, so why didn't you build something reminiscent to those pyramids? Oh, no, we were the Egyptians that built those pyramids. Oh, so you were the homosexuals, but you said the Egyptians are homosexuals. Well, we're not homosexuals. The homosexuals are the Egyptians, except for when they built the pyramids, we're the Egyptians. You see, like, this is what we got to go through. Now, y'all can act like y'all don't talk to stupid people from time to time and don't get frustrated. But when you see us going off the way we go off, when you see them veins going out my throat or them veins popping out of Satan's throat, understand the level of frustration after we committed ourselves to hours of study. Hours of study. To have somebody overnight do some research on Google to undermine years and lots of money being invested into our own self-motivated experience called education. We don't have nobody over our back giving us a 95 after we read. See, this is a report right here. This is us reading books and doing a presentation before the class. Nobody's forcing our hand. No one's promising us a job, a 401k, if we do a good report. No one's promising us nothing to do this research. Right. I spent more money going to Egypt than I made at the debate. Going there with 3 people. But it had to be fake though. It's so hard to get people who do nothing but believe to believe us. So let's do this. Go ahead and play.
Kenneth on trial, the aftermath, where shout out to King Noble, by the way. King Noble is a person that I value his opinion because he's not a yes man. One thing I value about King Noble is his ability to be honest.
Okay, I want you to go back. Now, when he went into this tangent about how my trip to Egypt was fake, he then corroborated the testimony of a hater named King Noble, who I never responded to in all the years I've been teaching. But today he's going to be part of the summer jam screen. Oh no, it's good. So you can see why I go so hard. So he says, I respect King Noble's opinion, because of course he got his information from King Noble. He says King Noble's a man of high repute. He's a stand-up man. And we need to believe what he says. So let's listen to what he says about King Noble. Then we're going to play what King Noble says, some of his views and his opinions. Like rape is revolutionary, especially when it's black women. So let's see why this Hebrew Israelite that reads the Bible, that called me a snake and a whole bunch of other derogatory names. And I never called him a name back, and I fell back for 3 months. And he kept still doing things about me. For 3 months, he said nothing back to Zion. When people say, yo, are you going to prove you went to Egypt? I just showed them clips from the documentary. I'm not even going to respond to the brother I told people. And many of you know, I just put out clips right after that. But today, I'm the type of dude, if you swipe me, I'm a Brownsville grimy nigga sometimes. I will fall back for 3 years until I'm thoroughly convinced that you forgot what you did to me. Then I'm going to strike your ass. So today, he ain't doing a lecture on me, I can guarantee you. Today, he's going to actually do a lecture that's not about me. And today, I'm going to strike his ass. Because he finally went to sleep. So I said, I'm not going to get him until he forgets about striking me. I want everything he's been throwing in spewing. So let's see what this grown black man who cherishes the opinion of King Noble, let's see what he's cherishing. And I'm going to tell you, he only supported King Noble because he hated on me. I know what it really is, but I'm going to show you where hatred can take you when your thoughts are guided by hatred and malice. So let's go, play it, baby.
Kenneth on trial, the aftermath, where shout out to King Noble, by the way. King Noble is a person that I value his opinion because he's not a yes man. One thing I value about King Noble is his ability to be honest in what he sees without putting forth his personal agendas. That is something that, as a man, I have to give the next man credit for. Putting truth before our agenda. Just being a genuine stand-up guy. You gotta salute that. Peace.
Listen to this. It's popular.
Black supremacy. And I want to do this particular video. We're dealing with how
Who that?
King Noble.
a rapist is a semi-revolutionary against capitalism, against Western white supremacy, Christian fundamentalism. How is a rapist on the forefront of being a revolutionary? Beyond the line of your political sciences, your scholars, your propaganda masters. Why is a rapist on the forefront of true revolutionary transition and transformation? For one, a rapist is the only true non-capitalist, a person who has aspirations outside of capitalistic gain, particularly serial rapists. They have a whole nother aspiration. It's not to get money every day. They have a whole nother interest. Your rapist is not going through any of those matters. Particularly your black rapist. I don't want to deal with any other nationality, so let me even further clarify the video. Your black rapist. Your black rapist must be saying that I don't want to take this sister out to a nice restaurant, spend money on her. I don't want to buy no drink.
bags, take her to the club. I don't want to have all the status symbols, the vehicle, materialisms. I don't want to have all these things that it takes to get a woman. I don't want to bow down to my oppressor in order to have a woman. The black woman belongs to the black man by species. Just like every species, they must be able to reproduce themselves. They must be able to copulate or procreate with their own kind to continue their own species. It's a part of survival and being able to survive. So this rapist is saying, well, look, I'm not going to bow down. I'm not going to no hole and pay for no hole to sleep with. I'm not going to join any of these groups or cliques that's going to guarantee me to get some pussy. I'm not going to join the Deltas or the Masons or the Kappas or any of these fraternities. I'm not going to join the motorcycle cliques, motorcycle clubs that are based on materialism, based on getting money, that's going to ensure that I'm going to have status in society to get a woman. I'm not going to use my education or my degrees. I'm not going to depend on all that. I want some pussy right now. I have a right to be with this woman. I want it. I'm going to take it. It's mine. She belongs to me. Fuck the white man. I'm not going to go kiss no white man's ass. I'm not going to go pretend and smile in this woman's face and pretend like it's not about sex and that I got the stamp of approval from my slave master in order to sleep with you. I'm going to take it right now by any means necessary. I'm going to take it right now by any means necessary. What am I saying? I'm saying that your average black rapist is by default one of the most revolutionary roles and careers that you can have in a society. I'm saying that your average black rapist is by default one of the most revolutionary roles and careers that you can have in a society. I'm saying that your average black rapist is by default one of the most revolutionary. They're not going to come with all charisma and charm. They're waking up to take what is theirs, to take what it is. And some of them are not going to settle for no white bitch. You know, they want their own woman. And goddamn it, they don't want to hear no shit. They don't step up to the plate to be and have their own woman. So, rape is a revolutionary act against society, white supremacist society, against capitalism. It's that you can overthrow the system that's black supremacy. So post-revolution, the pussy is liberated. But during the revolution, a lot of women will get raped. And the rape is if he developed his mind just a little more, he'll see how he's really thinking like a revolutionary. If he just developed, if he takes it beyond the primitive act of trying to just get pussy free and develop his consciousness and his logic, he can see, wait a minute, I'm actually a revolutionary. I'm revolting against society. I'm revolting against going away through capitalism and going to the max to get what I want. I'm going directly to my woman. I'm not going to have my woman pimped to be by some black devil. I'm not going for that. This is part of my rape, black rape. The black rapist is a revolutionary by default. Join my website, www.POLIGHT.
So, when you see us banging on these dumbass niggas, I don't want to hear shit about why we don't have unity. Because I'm not unifying with no motherfucker who think raping our black women, our mothers, our daughters, our nieces, our sisters is revolutionary. Damn it, the revolutionary act is when we kick his fucking ass every time we see him in the street. Fuck people. And I can't even apologize for the vulgarity. Because if we're going to use any kind of words like that with passion, this warrants it if ever no other opportunity on planet Earth. You got a black man with the goal to say, hey yo, so sign up to my website. Right after all this. So what world are we in when somebody's going to sign up to his website after that? He looked watch, what's that shit called? With the guy who lived out the garbage can. Sesame Street. Oscar ass nigga. He looked like he just crawled out of the damn garbage can. He's scary as shit. I put gloves on before I smack the shit out of him. But back to the story.
Dang. Looks like Charles Manson, he's black.
The Hebrew says, Zion says, I respect his opinion. He's a stand-up guy. He does all of this to glorify him, to undermine me. But this can just be a coincidence. Maybe this is one occasion a Hebrew made a mistake in judgment. Maybe. It may be the boycotting of Pan-Africanism and economics lecture could just be an accident too. Though one of the Hebrew brothers confessed and said, yo, they're going to do something every time y'all do something. I'm like, it's not going to be effective, but it still hurts that you think to do something like this. But then now, rape is revolutionary. So I want to show you another group of Hebrews who teach you at first the white man's the devil. But in this video, we found somebody worse than a white man. It's called a black woman, according to them. And she's the most evilest being on planet Earth. Quote, according to the leader of the ISUPK, Hebrew Israelite movement. But I'm not going to speak for the first set of time in my presentation. I'm going to let them do all the talking so no one says I took anything out of context. I played enough of that crazy man's video so you can know that he said rape, not just any rape, because I'm about my race. We only talking about raping black women, damn it. Oh no, we don't want no white women. He made it clear, like we was going to film on this. Like no, we ain't trying to rape no white women. We only fucking with black women. When you want me to buy her clothes and take her to the movies? That's capitalism. Yo, I can't even make my sister's here. And I'm looking at her like, yo, where the fuck you find these people from? My sister's here like, yo, what's going on? And this is what I'm saying, we have to get conscious and organized. Because he's trying to have a revolution separate from the one we have. We can't have none of that in the middle of us being focused. He over here trying to rape the women because he ain't getting no ass. And he frustrated sexually to the point he's lost his mind. And I don't support strip clubs, but goddamn, this nigga, that's the medicine for this nigga. He gotta get people on call. On the streets too, we have fun. You gotta have tough skin. If he can laugh it off, we can laugh it off, it'll go away. If we get uncomfortable, it's gonna keep coming from our way. That's how we stage. If you make it look like it's bothering you, we're gonna keep bothering you about it. I mean, gotta call somebody in the conscious community that you definitely know got the hookup. Only the Hebrew Israelite can create so many anti-African people. Let's listen to this video clip.
You know why? Because you black women are monsters. You are the evilest thing on the face of this earth. You know why? Because you black women are monsters. You are the evilest thing on the face of this earth. You know why? Because you black women are monsters. You are the evilest thing on the face of this earth. And you are dumb, and you are ignorant.
You want the black community to survive, we gonna kill your community. Said all was joined to the shall be lost. We gonna crush through your fucking community, man. All that black fucking community shit. Where the black fucking babies gonna die too. The black queen and fucking black ass goddess that
So when the cops shoot you down, I don't care. We praise the Lord when they kill Mike Brown. And y'all say, "Polite, what you so angry about?"
Right.
Just leave them alone and ignore them and they'll go away.
No, you can't ignore that.
The guy always said he want to rape women because he don't got movie ticket money. Just turn the other cheek. He's not really serious. He's probably not really doing that. So come on, we gotta go hard.
Right.
We gotta go hard. We gotta go hard like the gang members go hard. We gotta go hard like NBA players go hard. We gotta go hard like the white man go hard. So what are we really about? We gotta go hard.
Pause.
Thanks, sir. We have to make it happen. We have to make it happen. You can't play around with this consciousness.
That's right.
See, everybody want to read books and break down revolutionaries that did things in history, but then when we start talking about putting that work in real time, in real life, people be like, "Yo, calm down, we gotta unite, brother." Somebody might get hurt. They just be like, "Black power, black power, black power, black power, kill this monkey, kill this crap." You're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And one day the homie pulls out a ratchet, and everybody like, "Oh, what the fuck you doing?" And then we just trying to amp you up. We're gonna work tomorrow. He said, "If I miss one more day." So we gotta be for real. We have to be for real. We have to be for real. So now we're gonna look at this one right here. So for you to understand what Brother Seti and I are doing today, just understand where the anxieties come from. Because sometimes by the time you listen to us, you be like, "Damn, them brothers is all turned up for what?" Tone it down, brothers. Too excited. Calm down. But you don't realize what we're dealing with. Amidst of just coming on the stage, it precipitates this type of energy. So we're gonna play this, and you can look at Inky's face. He's notorious for having that face when someone says something stupid. He's known worldwide for those faces. He got people doing videos on the faces he makes. That's that divine, just give in face. Come on, let's play it, baby.
That's how you get them. We more can affiliate with ISUPK because that's how we get them. That's how we learn as Hebrews. But when it comes down, we form like Voltron. When you see when the thing came down, we was here. We was here to take the African heads off. You understand? And I mean, it's like that today too. Shot.
I'm gonna tell you something, black man, you gotta watch these thinking Africans, man. And they know you are the same people.
That's how you get them. We more can affiliate with ISUPK because that's how we get them. That's how we learn as Hebrews. But when it comes down, we form like Voltron. When you see when the thing came down, we was here. We was here to take the African heads off. You understand? And I mean, it's like that today too. Shot.
I'm gonna tell you something, black man, you gotta watch these thinking Africans, man. And they know you are the same people.
We more can affiliate with ISUPK because that's how we get them.
Anti-African.
So, genetically, contrary to popular belief, we are more genetically connected to the white man than we are to black people. I'm speaking to African people.
More closer to the white man than he is African people.
Genetically, contrary to popular belief, we are more genetically connected to the white man than we are to black people. Genetically, contrary to popular belief, we are more genetically connected to the white man than we are to black people.
We more can affiliate with ISUPK because that's how we get them. That's how we get Hebrews.
Wow.
Genetically, we are more closer connected to the white man than we are black people. I mean, forgive me, Africans. He's genetically, listen to this black man. Where do you think he got kidnapped from? Why do you think they call us African Americans? They done stole so many brothers and sisters from the whole continent, they lost count of who was a Guinea American, who was a Liberian American, who's a Ghanaian American, who's a Nigerian American. They done stole so many of us by the millions. They just call them African Americans. Just call them the whole continent. We lose count. So he winds up here in a different climatic circumstance and condition, eating different foods, subject to a different atmosphere, which in turn, you're going to mutate, you're going to transform, and you're going to wind up looking a little different from people from your native land. And now it's done got so bad after the 400 years of raping that you got to add on to it, that we or he can't recognize himself when he's looking right at him. So he thinks he's more closely connected to the white man genetically than he is African people. So where the hell did they take him from? They took all those millions of blacks from Israel, which is part of Africa. Don't let them fool. Northeastern Africa, don't let them fool. So we gonna go for it. So now you understand. So when I go in, when the go-in kids start going, I don't want to hear the soft stuff. My sister in here too, because we got on her ass yesterday. When we had the white man about to bow down on his knees and give forgiveness. She came in here today. She here. Where you at? Raise your hand if you're here. There she goes. She hiding still. But we love her. She just started feeling bad for that white man. Y'all gonna see the video. She started, stop it! She's trying to show you how to love. It takes a lot of courage to be in front of all these angry black people. And we said, man, white man go. It's time to roast the sister. We gotta talk about it. But that's the black woman, full of love. This goes to show you, after all those years of slavery, she still got compassion. Well, as black men just feel a little different. Because he put us in a different situation. The woman got a little jump start over us in corporate America, so we ain't trying to hear that. You hear them? We ain't trying to hear it, right? But we love you though, because you're compassionate. But save that compassion for your black man when he make a mistake. Don't have it for this white man. There ain't shit he could ever do to redeem himself. If he killed himself today, it wouldn't be enough. He inherited stolen property. He inherited stolen money. He even inherited stolen people in his government. So when white folks say, I fight for black people too, I believe in their rights. Nah, you go harder for the gays. Stop it. And the laws that's used to protect the gays have their inception in our unrelenting persecution. The reason these laws are even created today was because of the reflection that America had in light of the slavery experience that we were subjected to. So the prerequisite defense would be to reform conditions for black people before you reform it for anyone else. Everybody's fighting for the LGBT rights. Like, excuse me, we were here first. They think we attacking gay people. No, we just saying, like, you wouldn't have the laws in your position to use if it wasn't for us, the catalyst to which the laws were created. Stop complaining. No, we should make our own wealth. We should build our own wealth. But while we're at it, we still need to complain every damn day. Every day. Don't let no one tell you stop complaining. Complain every damn day. Don't nobody know what it is to be 400 years in the hole from slavery and 1,200 years in the hole from the Pale Arab through the Trans-Saharan slave trade. Over 1,000 years he enslaved us. Only for the white man to master his form of slavery and monetize it for 400 more years. Damn near 2 millenniums of slavery. Yeah. And in 50, 60 years, they expect us to be reformed. Why is he stripping? Why is he drug dealing? Like, we don't know why we are the way we are. Like, we just naturally crazy. How come we doing this? But these white people today didn't enslave you. So I'm gonna show you something. If you steal my car and your son inherits my car, and I'm still alive to know you stole my car, your son gotta come off that car. That's just how it works. That's just fucking street smarts. You don't pass my shit down. When a nigga in hip-hop get his chain stolen, niggas track down the niggas ran the chain. So that's my shit. Give it back. You find it, yo, he knows somebody in the hood, he connected. That chain go right back through all the hands he came from, back into the possession of the rapper, unless he asks. That's how it works. So you don't inherit stolen property. And now because you didn't steal it, you just inherited it, you ain't supposed to come off. So you got a bunch of white people saying, let's just stop the violence. How convenient to stop the violence when you got our gold, our jewelry, our name, our land, and our language? How convenient to tell us, don't fight now. The world has changed. We want equal rights. Equal rights is your ass back in that motherfucking cave where you came from, and us back in Africa. Equal rights. We was born on a part of the world abundant in all of the world's major commodities. Inorganic and organic. Call it rubber, call it gold, call it silver, call it diamonds. You want equal rights? They was in Europe with nothing but rocks. They barely had flowers. No spices, all they food bland. They didn't even have toilet paper until they enslaved blacks and brought them in America. They wasn't even wiping their ass before we came here. Dingleberries all in their ass cheeks. You say you want equal rights though. Equal rights is putting your ass back in poverty the way your God intended it.
Right.
Before you came in and colonized.
Right.
Equal rights. That's equal. Equal is if I have 50 and we give you 50. What if I had 80 before I even met you? How you breaking my 80 down to 50?
Right.
Equal rights. Just give everybody fair ground after we stole everything. And we get to still be the government. Equal rights.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next slide.
It seems like you giving everybody else hatred. But we hate the white man equally, just as equally as we hate Africans. Yo, it seems like you giving everybody else hatred. But we hate the white man equally, just as equally as we hate Africans.
I notice a lot of Hebrew Israelite brothers, not only ISUPK, but other camps out there, they have this divine hatred for Africans, for Kemet, for Egypt. Why? Why this divine hatred for African?
Okay, it's funny, like we hear the same thing. Like, okay, to y'all, it seems like we got a super hatred for Africans. But if you hear our speakings throughout the many years since the 60s, it's like School of UPK, we hate any non-Israelite. But if you hear our speakings throughout the many years since the 60s, it's like School of UPK, we hate any non-Israelite. We hate any non-Israelite.
So, you say united with them, polite. They already told me they hate me from the gate. Because they Bible. The Bible told them so. Now I know the good Christians are going to tell you, not in my Bible. But we don't have nobody with the so-called book of the day saying we hate non-Kemetic people. We don't have people reading Apocalypse or Pan-Africanism or the book of Gates telling you that the African is not of God's children. We don't have these type of things going on. Just like the grand finale of dog. Because when you stop a young black man
14 years old.
who's 14 years old from eating food only because he's from Africa. If you was having a cookout where the food is completely free, and a young black man come to you and say, I want to eat too, in the black community, would you turn them down and say, nah, nigga, you African. You and I is different people. But these same people work for the white man and make sure their labor is allocated towards their children. He can't feed his own the free food he's giving out.
Wow.
This ain't a business, but he's giving away free food, free sausage, free pork chops. It's free. Their intention is to give away food free, but we're not going to give it to any black people that's from Africa. That's for sure. So let's see. Let's play this one. This is the most interesting clip of them all. Aside from the rapist revolutionaries. They like neck and neck. Larry, you ready, babe?
For Israelites, for us, Obama is not a people because he's an African. We don't teach them we're African. But what he said was correct. They put that black face in office and then black people thought we made it. Black people. Because there's a difference between Africans and black people in America. Where they from? Where they from? Who? Oh, so he might be African, bro.
My mom is from Mali and my father's from Ghana, and I'm born here.
Now, I got you. That's your little brother.
He was born here?
Oh, ain't no, we ain't dealing with this. He from Mali and Ghana. Beautifully smart young brother. Is this your people?
Why am I not?
See, now do you see the danger in that teaching, brother?
I see you, sir. That's not uniting us. That's pushing us apart.
That's right.
How do you feel when you hear a brother from America say that you're not our people, we're not the same people? How does that make you feel?
And also, if you read back on history, your ancestors were in Africa at one point. So they were African. Your ancestors were African.
Tell him he's right,
He's not my people. Him being smart does not make him my people.
I also was gonna say, if I'm from Ghana, I didn't choose to be from Ghana.
You can't be an American as a slave.
Yeah. Also, my father's family wasn't caught up in slavery. Your family probably was, and your family was. That was not our fault. But also, before I told you I was African, we made a connection. And that connection is broke between me and you.
That was correct.
But also, before I told you I was African, we made a connection. And right before that connection, after I told you African, that connection is broke between me and you.
We're still dealing with the same connection that we had, which was knowledge. We wasn't connected as far as you being this. I said you was a very intelligent brother. Now, after I found out you was African, did I say you was intelligent or unintelligent?
Intelligent, but not your brother. And also, you said we all as black people need to become one. And if we all become one, that means us too. Because listen, the white people, we all African American. We the same thing. The same thing.
So, let me ask you this. If I bring my brother, this is my little brother, if I bring my brother with me to the cookout, can he get in with me?
No.
Let me ask you this. If I bring my brother, this is my little brother, if I bring my brother with me to the cookout, can he get in with me?
No.
So, let me ask you this. This is my little brother. If I bring my brother with me to the cookout, can he get in with me?
No.
You mean to tell me you wouldn't let this brother in the cookout, brother? You mean to tell me you wouldn't let this brother in the cookout, brother? Look at, come on, Cesaria. This is the poison of that book. This is what we're talking about, of the poison of that Bible, brother. But you're bringing the Mexican. The Mexican is your brother. He could be white as Snow White. And you're bringing the Mexican. But you won't bring in my little brother. He can't eat with us.
Because joining other nations is why we were destroyed as a people.
All of us don't think like that.
That's right.
So don't let my brother I love my brother. This is my brother. And that's why we trying to fix him. He's sick. So this is just one of the brothers that we're trying to work on, man. You are a brother.
I'm sometimes downtown and I see people wearing like these crosses. Yeah. No, like those stars. And David Shield. Yeah, I see people do that. Some people, they sometimes like need help sometimes. Like they have like a quarterback. right? Sometimes. Well, I saw when he was on the train, he said, I need help. And I gave it to him because I thought, hey, he's my brother.
But he is sick. So don't think we over here mad at our people, we hate our brothers. But this is when you out there and you teaching the people on the streets, you be hearing things that don't always get recorded. We're just blessed to have these type of conversations recorded because you wouldn't believe these things get said and they would deny that they say. We go through this all the time. So now we need to get to the root of this problem. Let's go to the next slide.
Share microphone.
So we take some special notes here from the Hebrew Israelites. They want to boycott the Pan-African events. The black women are monsters. They are the most evilest beings on the planet Earth. They are going to kill the black community and the black babies are going to die too.
Oh my Lord.
When the cops shoot us down, they praise the Lord. These are different groups. They will chop our African heads off. Chop, chop. Africans are dirty and stinking. The white man is more closer to us than the African. And last but not least, we will not feed young men if they are of African descent. So, we go to the next slide. We just had to get a synopsis of everything we just heard that leads us up to this point. So I start doing some research on ISUPK. And we go deep. So deep they be calling me an agent for pulling these things up. I guarantee you. They're going to want to know how I got it. But you go to the Schomburg Museum. You go to museums and go to the basements and get to a special scholarship card. And you can find some archives of people's old letters, postcards, birth certificates, death certificates. So I'm in there digging. Like, they couldn't have been like this the whole time, could they have? Who created these organizations? Because a lot of those Israelites are splinter groups of the original UPK. GMS, AOC, Lions of Israel, all these guys are all splinter groups from the original UPK. So I said, I want to find out who's the father of this madness. Or did they just wind up becoming crazy? So here's the ordination letter that begins from AJ 4. It begins with blessings from Allah. So this is already weird because one of the founders, or the founder of the Israelite community that we know today, that is made up of many splinter groups. This is an ordination letter. And it says here, it's to Rabbi W.A. Matthew. Rabbi Matthew. Okay. Look at this Ethiopia here. They used to identify with Africa in the beginning. We're going to find out what's going on. My dear Rabbi Matthew, greetings to yourself, your family, and the congregation, and the blessings of Allah. Now we are confused. Because this is an ordination letter where the salutation is being given on behalf of Allah. And this is the guy that created their doctrine before it was created. This is before the creation of their doctrine. But we're going to keep going so this all can make sense. Go to the next slide. You see that? June 5th, 1931. Let's get the next slide. So here's a 1936 letterhead, the Royal Order of Ethiopian Hebrews. So at one point, they called themselves the Ethiopian Hebrews. So where does all this anti-African rhetoric come from? Because their forefathers identified themselves as Ethiopian Hebrews. 1936 letter. I am not making these things up. I even told you where you can go. Because I know they don't understand how to do research, so they don't know where to go to do the research.
That's right.
You can't just go to Barnes Nobles all the time. You gotta go to the basement of these museums. My wallet is filled with all sorts of beautiful cards that give you access to photocopy and scan all historical content from any of your leaks. So let's go to the next one. We're going to do research. One thing to read the Bible is to do the research behind the people who spread the word to you. So now, this side of the card for address, Rabbi W.A. Matthew. I just want you to see, this is a 1949 postcard. It says, important communication, see next back. So we all in this, man. It's public assets, public information right now. We all in his business. Because this is the guy who's the father of this community that we see today. So let's go to the next slide. They can't say I'm making it up. So here we see is a membership card of the Royal Order of Ethiopian Hebrews, SNDO-C, 30 West 129th Street. Right out here. Educational. Okay, now we're going to go down. We're going to go to the next slide. Keep it going. This is a 1949 postcard. Delegation summoned by the new influence. We're going to find out who this new influence is. But it says, dear friend, I look forward to greeting you and your fellow delegates at the special conference with Chief Rabbi Isaac Halevi Herzog. Place Manhattan Center, 34th Street, 8th Avenue. Date Sunday, May 22nd, 1949. Time 2:30 p.m. with best wishes. Cordially yours, Nathan Strauss. We're going to find out who these people are. Let's go to the next slide. Very important stuff when you're doing research. Wow, here we go with a death certificate. When this man died, the father of the Hebrew groups that say they are anti-African, God doesn't love Africans. I'm not going to feed you, 14-year-old black boy, because you're an African. On the death certificate, does it tell us that the creator of this doctrine came from?
Say stinky now?
Stinky old African. He comes from Lagos, Nigeria. Let's look at it. Rabbi, right? This is his death certificate. Whitworth, Matthews. This is the guy. This is your creator of your Israelite movement that hates Africans, who was part of the Ethiopian Hebrews, and the man from the Ethiopian Hebrews, that when he died, we found out he's from Nigeria. But they hate Africans, though.
Wow.
How do you hate Africans and the man that created your doctrine is from Nigeria, Africa? This is his death certificate. The creator of their doctrine was born in Nigeria.
Say stinky out there.
So what happened? The creator of the anti-African doctrine, who started out as an Ethiopian Hebrew, it's verified on his death certificate that he comes from Lagos, Nigeria. So where do you get this hatred for Africa from? I know you want to say, this nigga's good. This nigga's used the word nigga and he's just good. It's a different day, man. When hip-hop starts doing research, it gets ugly. So let's go to the next slide. So the truth about black Jews and Judaism in America. What did Rabbi Whitworth write? He wrote, prior to 1919, Judaism was not known to the black man of America. That's very important. This is his newspaper. He said, prior to 1919, Judaism was not known to the black man in America. This is what they leaders say. Let's go to the next one. Oh, let's look where he's getting his props from. Pale Rabbi, he's accepted. Chief Rabbi Whitworth Matthew, to the left of the Ethiopian Hebrew Commandment Keepers Congregation, 1 West 123rd Street, schema giving him Rabbi Kong Habenots, the Beth Mitra. In other words, this guy here is taking him to the next level. This pale white man right here. So all these anti-African, yet paradoxically pro-black people who won't feed 14-year-old young African children for some weird reason has been accepted by this pale Jew. But we're going to go further. But this gets real confusing. Part of the Ethiopian Hebrews dies Nigerian born. His community, anti-African, accepted by Pale Rabbi. Go to the next one. So, this is more of the man. This SND of CGC, number 1 that we was looking at, is a large. That thing we saw earlier when it was Ethiopian Hebrews, it's an Ethiopian Hebrew large. Masons. Under white folks.
Wow.
This is not my mail, this is his.
Wow.
Now look at that. Compass and square, right? Now watch how this works. Go to the next slide. This is their leaders. Large. They can tell you he had temples back in the day. He had lamas. Wow. He was ordained by pale rabbis. Goes the next one. So we see this nice little Magen David, 6-point star, someone's known. 1979, Rabbi Matthew passes. New leadership also name change from Royal Order to Israelite Rabbinical Academy. So then they wind up changing the name. Now they're Israelites. So we're just doing this chronologically so you can see, based on the dates and the correspondences that's taking place, that I'm not making this up, and we can start seeing this movement evolve into an anti-black movement. Or maybe in its inception it was already potential to be. So we go to the next slide. This is very interesting because the whole time we thought it was a Hebrew temple, it was a Masonic lodge, and he got raised by a pale white man. And now we see their new symbol today, looks mighty like the compass and square, and we see two swords going through it, which is symbolic of the royal ark in Freemasonry. In Roman days, the public magistrate had two men behind him holding these swords. And now it's in this symbolism today, the Israelite school of the universal practical knowledge. The swords that are being seen right here are reflective of the royal ark degree in Freemasonry. So there's no coincidence of all this. But if you put a little line here and a little line here, you're going to wind up what they call a Magen. But it's clear this is not reaching because your temple was actually a lodge. When we go to the next slide. So we see who got their hands all in this Israelite culture. So then later, as eternal strife of commandment keepers will culminate, obviously. The direction causes problems, early separation from commandment keepers by Rabbi Abba-Bivens. Abba-Bivens will eventually create school of the Torah, Old Testament. Abba-Bivens will be critically beaten and named Arya, Yaakov, and Peter Sherrod, who said he came in a personage of King David leaders. Arya will change teachings of Abba-Bivens by adding Messianic New Testament, thereby forming what you know today is the ISUPK, the ICUPK, the Alliance of Israel, your AOC, and all the other people that exist, the ICIU and all that. Spin-off camps. So now we go to the next slide. Now, I told you guys about this before, but we're going to go deeper. Lyndon B. Johnson enforced an IRS regulation in 1954 for the 501c3, which is a non-for-profit organization. But it was created for the sole purposes of extending tax subsidy to anybody, or tax exemption to anybody, so long as they don't speak about political affairs, more especially in the case of politicians running for public office. Churches don't have to get this. Temples and mosques don't have to get this. But for some reason, they all get it. They already got their rights because you got the freedom to religion. But they get these 501c3s because that you don't speak on matters pertaining to political affairs, more especially in the case of politicians that are running for public office. So if you're willing to shortchange the people on the fullest capacity of your scripture, we'll give you tax exemption. So, as you gave, go to the website. They are 501c3. So what kind of prophets of the Lord? I can see you Boy Scouts, but Mr. Kill the White Man? Why would Mr. Kill the White Man sign a contract with the white man to not tell the whole truth to his people so he can get some tax exemption? And what truth is the white man not worried about when they tell him? Maybe that you're not African. They don't take away your tax exemption for that one. Waging war against your own black people from Africa, as if you're not black people from Africa. I'm sure you can keep your tax exemption for that one. They'll tell you, we bang on the white man every day of the week. No, you bang on your black people every day of the week, every day that you deny yourself of your African heritage.
That's right.
Yep. So he's going to give you that tax exemption every day of the week. It sounds like you hate white people until we hear that the black woman is the most evilest being on planet Earth. It sounds like you hate white people until we find out you ain't going to feed a young African brother. It certainly sounds like you hate white people until we do research. So this is the 501c3 of the federal tax code. Entities that are exempt from the federal income tax cannot participate in or intervene in including the publishing or distributing a statement. Any political campaign on behalf of or in opposition to any candidate for public office. So they actually call this the Johnson Amendment, because he created it to circumvent the momentum of any spiritual group or institution that may have in turn revolted or gave rise to an insurrection. So let's go to the next slide. So this is very important information. This is the National Security Council Memorandum 46. Look this information up. Very important. Because guess what the white man says under the 1978 during the Jimmy Carter administration? What did Jimmy Carter say? Or what did Jimmy Carter enforce? He said to stop at nothing from keeping blacks in America separate, indifferent, and at war amongst their African counterparts. He made this American law. American law stipulates they have to do everything in their power to get you to deny yourself of your African lineage and heritage and history. It's called the National Security Council Memorandum 46. In 1978, erected or enforced by Jimmy Carter administration. Now we're going to read some of this. And we're going to see that anti-black rhetoric that you can get tax exemption for is part of a conspiracy enforced by the powers that be to see to it that you always have this rift between you and your African brothers. Which is an oxymoron, because you are your African brothers. Just the ones that's been kidnapped most recently. So it says, March 17, 1978, Presidential Review Memorandum, NSCM 46, which stands for National Security Council Memorandum. The Secretary of Defense is to the Secretary of State, the Secretary of Defense, the Director of Central Intelligence. The subject is Black Africa and U.S. Black Movement. Freedom of Information Act. You can find this information, you type it up. The President has directed that a comprehensive review be made of current developments in Black Africa from the point of view of their possible impacts on the Black movement in the United States. Like trying to boycott us. See, it's all going to start making sense. Who their God really is. You hear that? What do they call it? The Black movement. Wow. That's us. We are the Black movement. This is to the Secretary of State, the Secretary of Defense, the Director of the CIA. Long-term tendencies of social political developments and degree to which they are consistent or in contradict the U.S. interests. Two, this document consists of proposals for durable contacts between radical African leaders and leftist leaders of the U.S. Black community. Three, for them to take the appropriate steps to be taken outside the country, inside out the country. That's what this is a mandate for the government. To take the necessary steps in this country and out this country in order to inhibit any pressure from radical African leaders and organizations on the U.S. Black community for the latter to exert influence on the policy of the administration towards Africa. They want to make sure you never get involved with African politics. So much so, they plant themselves in Africa to see you coming, and they plant themselves in America to see them coming, your African brothers. They're on both sides, making sure we hate each other, and they made it law for them to have to do this. Anybody in politics up there is part of their responsibility. This has never been revoked onto this day. It's never been overturned. It is a government responsibility to keep you separated from your African brothers and your African sisters. U.S. interest in Black Africa. A multiplicity of interests influences the U.S. attitude towards Black Africa. The most important of these interests can be summarized as follows. Politically, if Black African states assume attitudes hostile to the U.S. national interests, our policy towards the white regimes, which is a key element in our relations with the Black states, may be subjected by the latter to great pressure for fundamental change. You got to stop the real revolutionaries. The real revolutionaries. Thus, the West may face a real danger of being deprived of access to the enormous raw material resources of Southern Africa, which are vital for our defense needs, as well as losing control over the Cape Sea routes by which approximately 65% of Middle Eastern oil is supplied to the Western Europe. So they see the money in this unity, and they like, we gotta shut this down. Because the niggas that's on the coast, we can never have the homies on the coast of Africa doing business with the niggas of America. We gotta lock down the coast. So the first thing is to stop every connection or form of communication with any blacks in America, with any Africans along the coast or around that oil. It's not a coincidence. You think it's just hard naturally to come up. But somebody's making sure that doesn't happen. They got a plan in force. If somebody tries to make foreign relations with Africans that control oil, or foreign relations with Africans along the coast, where they have to pay tariffs and taxes on water, it could be the demise of America because it's accounting for 65% of that which they take in. Go to the next one. Economic. There's an economic incentive to this conspiracy to deny Africans and black people of unity. Black Africa is increasingly becoming an outlet for U.S. exports and investment. Let's say it again. Black Africa is increasingly becoming an outlet for U.S. exports and investments. Black Africa. They made that very clear. Not the Chinese man in Africa. Not the European in Africa. They said Black Africa. Black Africa is increasingly becoming an outlet for U.S. exports and investment. The mineral resources of the area continue to be of great value for the normal functioning of industry in the United States. On to this day, the United States would be crippled if they didn't have foreign relations or business with Africa, especially the black Africans, as it says here. And allied countries. In 1977, U.S. direct investment in black Africa totaled about $1.8 billion and exports at $2.2 billion. New prospects of substantial profits will continue to develop in countries concerned. Black Africa and the U.S. Black Movement. This is their document. It's subtitled, this section. Okay? Section 4. Black Africa and the U.S. Black Movement. Apart from the above-mentioned factors adverse to U.S. strategic interests, the nationalist liberation movement in Black Africa can act as a catalyst with far-reaching effects on the American black community by stimulating its organizational consolidation and by inducing radical actions. Such a result will be likely as Zaire went the way of Angola and Mozambique. So they said we gotta make sure there's no nationalists in Africa. We gotta make sure there's no revolutionaries in Africa, because it might impress something upon the minds of the blacks in America to lead their very own insurrection. This is law in government. But they said that's the word of God that's telling them to hate their African brother. And if it is, then the white man must be their God. Because if they hate the white man, they will do the opposite of that which the white man wants. And the last thing this white man wants is for us to unite as blacks in America and blacks in Africa. Possibility of joint action by U.S. black and African nationalist movement. They have this shit outlined while we're playing around. Talking about rapist and revolution on a revolutionary act on YouTube. They got this outline. Number 1, possibility of joint action by U.S. black and African nationalist movement. One of their greatest fears in the economic aspect of them being affected by our unity is that the possibility of joint action by U.S. black and African nationalist movement can destroy the economy. In elaborating U.S. policy towards black Africa, due weight must be given to the fact that there are 25 million American blacks whose roots are African and who consciously or subconsciously sympathize with African nationalism. They know this, but our religious brothers don't. They're aware that over 25 million American blacks whose roots are African and who consciously, and they even got metaphysical and say even unconsciously, we connect with Africa and have sympathy with our African brothers because of our connection to them. They even got into the metaphysics in a legal document and said we unconsciously connected to Africa. But you're saying these lectures are a waste of time and our debates is bullshit. But we trying to wake our brothers up in that spell they call religion. The living conditions of the black population should also be taken into account. Immense advances in the field are accompanied by a long-lasting high rate of unemployment, especially among the youth, and by poverty and dissatisfaction with government social welfare standards. These factors taken together may provide a basis for joint actions of a concrete nature by the African nationalist movement and the U.S. black community. Basically, actions would take the form of demonstrations and public protests, but the likelihood of violence cannot be excluded. There would also be attempts to coordinate their political activity both locally and in international organizations. Inside the United States, these actions could include protest demonstrations against our policy towards South Africa, accompanied by a demand for boycotting corporations and banks which maintain links with that country. Attempts to establish a permanent black lobby and Congress, including activist leftist radical groups and black legislators, the reemergence of Pan-African ideals. Their fear is the re-emergence of Pan-African ideals. So when I start off my lecture with why it hurt that our Hebrew brothers will have a boycott on a Pan-Africanism and economics lecture, it behooves me to show them that their movement in their inception was African. The Hebrew movement was African in the beginning. I'm not against the Hebrew Israelites that are from Africa. I'm against the Hebrew Israelites that are anti-African because it plays right in the hand of the oppressor that's facilitating the means to which end we can disconnect ourselves from our brothers and sisters of the continent. That's what we against. Go next slide. So look at this right here. So they killed 9 people. This white boy killed 9 people in Charleston Church on the land that Harriet Tubman gave to black people. Harriet Tubman gave that land where that AME church was, where this white man went in there and killed 9 people. And guess what? If you go to the lead attorney of the Rifle Association, National Rifle Association, he says, and you can Google it, that the pastor voted against the right to have guns because his belief in God. And the pastor is one of the people that got murdered. The National Rifle Association attorney said that the pastor declined in his opportunity to vote for the right to arm themselves.
That's the first one, Pledge. That's the pastor.
And he wound up dying by the same firearm he voted against because he believed in the protection of that white God. And you know what he got when they found him? Burger King. The police pulled over and bought him Burger King. Look it up. But that ain't it. You know how much money these white people raised for him? And the name that he might be mentally impaired or compromised? Over $4 million the white community raised to get him out of prison. After he killed 6 black women amongst them all.
Wow.
He went in there and killed 9 people. 6 black women. Got Burger King before he got locked up. And now he's out because the white community raised $4 million for him.
And the black community forgave him.
And on the headlines of the newspaper it says, of the victims, we forgive them. If you're in New York, you've seen it on the front page of the newspaper.
That's what that religion do to you.
That's what religion do. Go next slide. $4 million? There's no fear in ignorance from the white community. Play this, because this is the solution. Go back. This is the solution.
Do you believe that man is going to come from the clouds with an army? A man is going to literally come out the sky from an army and free our people. Do you really
and why. Not only do I believe it, you understand, but I will use the rest of my life to teach according to the Bible, a black man named Jesus Christ with white woolly hair afro will come out of these clouds right here and save black people. According to the Bible, that's the only solution there is. According to the Bible, that's the only solution there is.
So now, Christ coming back ain't no different to us. That don't sound strange to me. Christ coming back. He's going to crack that sky with 200 million black angels.
That's enough of that bullshit. He's going to crack that sky and have 200 million black angels come save us. So where the fuck is the 200 million black angels when they killed them 6 black women? Every damn man in that church should have took an L for that. And they waited for the white officers to track this white man down. They called the damn police. These are the mothers of our children, the progenitors of society. There'd be no men or women if it wasn't woman first. But we let them kill 6 black women. And our brothers is waiting for not 1, not 2, not 3 people, but 2. Christ ain't enough. 200 million gangster niggas from God gotta come down here and crack the sky. Who talks like that? Who says the sky cracks? They're waiting for 200 million gangsters of God to come down here because according to them, that's the only solution. But they say they doing the work and they fixing like that. And I have no problems with beliefs, but don't antagonize me. Don't undermine my intelligence. Don't insult my intelligence. Don't do that. You can think what you want to think. But when we do a debate, black people are dying, and y'all still doing debates. But look who we debating. We debating our brothers so you can hear what's really going on in their minds. Right. We're not debating them per se for them to convert. We debating them so you can know what we all are speaking about before you enter the community. So you can discern ahead of time. So you don't waste time out your life. But when we do a debate, people are dying. The white man's killing people. Why they debating? So why do you keep sending your child to school when someone dies? Why do you go to work when someone gets killed? Why we gotta stop what we do? Well, we educate the people. We're on the streets and we're educating the people. We're in the lecture halls and we're educating the people. We're on YouTube and we're educating the people because we can't have liberation without the prerequisite education first. Go next one. South Carolina legislator passed the Negro Act. This is interesting. Where was that murder? When did that murder take place? South Carolina, right? Yeah. Now we give you history. They love to tell you about Nat Turner. Because he dealt with the Bible. He didn't do that good. We just feel him for his rebellious spirit. I'm going to keep it 100 with you. He didn't do that good. But there's an undertone to it because he appreciated the Bible. Harriet Tubman, they love to tell us about her. And she dealt with the Bible. So they say, man, these people dealt with the Bible. Well, they didn't have Google. They got that time. They couldn't download PDFs. There wasn't much accessible. There wasn't options to read them to. But we're going to read whatever we can. We've only been stripped of a thorough knowledge of self, our name, our land, and our language. We have to read in someone else's language. We're going to read the first thing we can find. But we always wanted to be illiterate people. We always were.
That was the only book they allowed you to read. Like,
yeah, it used to be changed.
They gave you the Bible.
You couldn't even come off the pulpit in the beginning. But now, in the same place, let's look what happened. Why did they create the Negro Act of the 1700s? This is when they illegally started naming the Moors and Native Americans Negroes. But we went through some history. Because in the same place, ironically, there's a group of blacks that didn't believe in the Bible. That their insurrection resonated so much so that it called for a 10-year moratorium of slavery and the manumission of the slaves thereof. What does this mean? That these blacks in the Stono Rebellion, let's read it. The Stono Rebellion, sometimes called Cato's Conspiracy or Cato's Rebellion, was a slave rebellion that began on the 9th of September, 1739, September 9th. In the colony of South Carolina, what a coincidence. It was the largest slave uprising in the British mainland colonies with 21 whites and 44 blacks killed. Now you may say 44 black people got killed, though only 21 whites got killed. So why are you bragging about them? They probably was no more successful than Harriet Tubman or Nat Turner. Well, when these guys killed, they killed in such impressive fashion that the slave masters called on the 10-year moratorium, which is a 10-year restriction on slavery in the South. We never learned about this. They killed the white folks so bad, hung them by their intestines, and their children came out. They would have killed the children, but they didn't want that. They kept the women alive, these Africans that they kidnapped. They kept the children alive, and when they woke up out of bed, the slave master was hanging from his intestines. The other slave master was choked up from his own lungs. And by the time the crackers saw that, they said, we don't want to enslave those niggas no more. Keep the Native Americans in the fucking Moors. And the Moors will tell you in the 1700s, they started illegally calling the Moors Negroes and enslaving them. They stopped the whole import and export of African slavery for 10 years. And whoever they had that was from those places in Africa, they demanded a manumission. The slave masters demanded that they be freed and out of their homes, because we can't trust these niggas. So they came up with something called the Negro Act, because they had to still learn, they still needed money off of slavery, but they said we gotta enslave a different type of person, because them Africans is off the hook. So they went and they started illegally calling Native Americans Negroes, and illegally naming the Moors Negroes as well. And thus they started enslaving the same Muslim Moors that were free amongst their own people. And that's what the Negro Act is all about, the Stono Rebellions. I'm telling you, look it up, they canceled slavery for 10 years. And whoever was African, they released them in fear that one day they would wake up and their children would see their father hanging from his intestines off the chandelier. It's not about, and this is what the white man doing to you. He don't just kill you in regular fashion. He'll shoot a young man in his head, and in his head again, and in his neck, and in his chest. And it's something about not just dying, but the way you die. That's how the human mind is when it's afraid of something it doesn't understand, like death. You would think death is just death, but it can't front. There's just certain parts of certain shit that just creeps you out. You get into beef with a nigga from the hood, and tomorrow you see a bloody chicken bone in front of your door. Something about that is going to make you cancel the beef. You're going to call the nigga up and say, I'm sorry, I'm going back. But we are weird people like that. Human psychology is not really worried about dying. Human psychology is worried about the way we die. So they mastered the art of killing their enemy. Now we have that conversation, people start getting nervous. I remember one of the first lectures I ever heard of Dr. Khalid Muhammad, he said, I'm going to rip the nails off this white man. And I said, now he is fucking bugging. You know, meanwhile, I'm like, yo, I'll fight the white man. I'm not going to rip his nails, I ain't got the strength for this. I should. They would sit there and listen to him get his nails ripped out, his fingers. I thought Khalid was crazy. But the more I did research, I see the psychology of the human. Don't nobody want to deal with anyone who has the stomach to peel one man's fingernails one finger at a time. Whoever would do that, you don't want no drama with them. Nobody wants to have a fight with someone that will bite you in the middle of the fight. You know, that's that shit when you in the hood and there's no rules until a nigga bites you, you be like, yo, you cheating, time out. Like some of us still got rules. We don't grab a man's balls, we don't bite people, but we fight. We all live by these rules, and then you got other people who go all the way in. Like, I'm not going to lose if I got to bite. It's fast food, and we going in. So what I'm telling you is, this is where we got to go again. And this is the scary part. We got to get pushed to the point that when we do rebel, we got to make a statement when we rebel. Because when they kill us, they make statements. Yes. And in fact, they don't talk about it unless it's a statement kill. It's a regular old kill, they ain't doing it. They want the idea of you being choked to death, gasping for air, saying, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. They want that in your mind. They want the image of not one of you dying, but none of you dying in the middle of people praying to God. Because you gotta say, that's evil. Because who would kill someone, like many homies in the hood? One of the things they really ain't about is driving up to funerals and shooting people at funerals. But the brothers that do it, those are the ones you fear the most, because it's just something about people killing people in the middle of their spiritual high that just seems completely away from a lot of us. So it's the way you get killed. When we talk about the revolution, we got to get the members of the Black Power movement team to be willing to kill in sophisticated ways. They dropped the video on YouTube, but it's just real. We're going to have to kill the only way. Now, I never did want to say go out there and just murder. I'm saying when we do kill someone, we better not have them still breathing. He better not be on life support the next day. Hang on. They need to find his body parts 3 miles away from each other on purpose. His fingernails need to be mailed to his family first so they get a hit. That's right. Until you find out the white man is eating your balls with eggs for breakfast. And this is why we scared of them. Because they're killing us in sophisticatedly deceptive and evil ways. And just the thought of fighting somebody that evil just makes us say we tap out. So now I really have a certain level of respect for Dr. Khalid in a way y'all would never understand. Because he was getting us to conceive what we might have to actually do if we push to a certain level. Yes. He was not a stupid black man. No, he wasn't. Let's go to the next slide. Well, I gotta speed it up. We ready to do what we do in transition. Where we at on the time, King?
We ready.
What time? 31. Oh, we good. Okay, cool. I'm almost done. But yeah, y'all moving with me? Y'all walking with me so far? For the sisters whose stomach is turning a little bit, just understand, you would rather us thinking like this if somebody comes to kill 6 of y'all in a place where you trying to connect with your community. Because how does one man get away with killing 6 women? Yeah, 3 men. I love our brothers. I'm just saying, how does one white man go in there and get to air out 9 people successfully? That wasn't one shot at a time, he was hitting them up. And a whole church. And what did they do the next day? They prayed for the people who got killed praying. Ain't they sick too? Mm-hmm. They sick in their head. So here we have books that you can just simply do things yourself, do it yourself. We have the Stocks and Bonds, we have the Rich Mom, Poor Mom. We say, what are y'all doing? We educate the masses. Over 90 books in, I am in. Over 90 books I've written thus far. And these are books that help develop our communities. We have Rich Mom, Poor Mom, Spiritual Business. And it's strategic, and it's step by step. And it's categorization of what an impoverished mother thinks like and how she engages her economic paradigm, and how a more proficient in economics mother would engage society and thus use or render that what she has learned from the information and use it as a catalyst to uplift her and her family in the presence of her black man counterpart, or in the event when she counterpart in the family household. So that's Rich Mom, Poor Mom. Very important. You have introduction to the tax deed, step-by-step things you can do yourself. And then you have, of course, our Sovereign Bible, Head of the Crown. It's like a combination of a lot of material to show you how to file your own lawsuits, how to fight against vaccine or vaccinations imposed on your children because some of you send your children to school and you think there's no option or no choice, so just let them get it. And then 10 years later, 15 years later, they recall the vaccines and you find out that it's numbing the brain or shrinking the brain or making your young man grow titties when he's 20. Like, we can't have this going on. And then it's rampant homosexuality, and we all think it's spontaneous. We all think 10 years ago, it wasn't this rampant. Go to the next one. And of course, you get the 2012 scores over here at the table. So we have what's called the stats correction, where it ascertains your political, legal disposition, your limited commercial capacity, and your genetic reference actually relates to your nationality. These are the 3 things that we need to take on in order to become masters of our own destiny. We need to know how to respond politically. Why do we need to know how to respond politically? Because there's powers in an accounting of numbers. Not just powers and numbers, because we exist as a multitude of black people, whatever that means. Well, politically, there is no black people politically. Politically, there is a homosexual. And if you engage them in a physical fight, you might do more time than fighting an average person before, because it'll be called a hate crime. And if you say something that might be considered a little too disrespectful to a Jew, it can be considered anti-Semitic.
Anti-Semitic, that's right.
But if you do it to another brother or sister, I mean, what's the crime? You just got a bad attitude. There's no lawsuits, there's no loss of money, and no one's getting locked up. Because we haven't politically identified our legal disposition. As a community, we have to come into conformity with our ideals and our goals. When we look up the word race, we find, based on Black's Law's Dictionary, one of the prerequisites to establishing yourself as a race is what? One of the prerequisites to establishing yourself as a race is to be able, as a community, to identify your previous condition of servitude. We have to agree on where we come from. So this might mean we have to come up with something pragmatic enough where we don't maintain the momentum of dissension that has been created in light of these different doctrines that we have been making subscriptions to. It's very hard if we all have a different account of history to come in uniformity with each other under law. So what we need to do is identify our oppression from a historical standpoint and leave the religious rhetoric or dogma out of it. You can continue to believe what you want to believe. No problem. But on paper, we have to historically account for the things that have transpired in the past and how they have ultimately affected us today in this present day. When we're able to do that, we have accomplished identifying what our previous condition of servitude is. And we are en route to demonstrating who we are as a people via the term race. So with the status correction, that's part of the goal. You'll have the political legal disposition, your limited commercial capacity, and your nationality as it relates to your genetic preference. In slavery, they had a preference to some slaves over others because they felt some slaves worked harder than other people. They felt some slaves were lazier than other slaves. So they monetized the blood, and some slaves were worth more money than other slaves. And to this day, it's never been overturned. It never has been rewritten. Therefore, we retitle our blood as an asset after doing a DNA test. We retitle it to our trust as the property that it is, because in law it is considered a monetary property. It's considered an asset. So we retitle our blood like we would do our house to our trust. And with that comes political strength and power as well, because you're claiming your blood. Well, you say claiming your blood, but we would have to understand the verbiage of the law to realize the socio-political significance of claiming your blood, because it has a monetary value, because they picked some slaves over others to preference by qualification of who or what they were based on where they were from. So we use their geneticists to qualify our response in law, because blood is thicker than water. The laws that they use to govern this land is called Aperception, which are the laws that govern the seas. When a ship comes into water and it stops near the land, that part by the water and land is called a bank. And when a ship breaks through the water and it stops, after it breaks through the water, it's called berth, B-E-R-T-H. And someone comes on the boat and says, let me know how much the goods on this boat is worth before we put it on land. And that's called a certificate of manifesto that identifies what they can make off the products that's on the ship that came to its berth when it broke through the waters at the bank. Now a woman is in the hospital and she gives birth, but not B-E-R-T-H. But when her water breaks, she gives B-I-R-T-H. And someone wants a certificate of manifesto called a birth certificate, because you just manifested. And anything that has the word certificate on it is a security. And a security is a paper certificate that attests to ownership and equity, as in the case of a stock, or ownership of a bond, as in the case of a debt obligation, which has tradable derivatives. So the fact that you have a Q-SIP on your birth certificate, or your marriage certificate, or your death certificate, means that not only are you property, but someone is making a heaven at the expense of your hells under the pretense that you are a minority. And in law, a minority is one who is an adult in age, however, is inferior in mind, as in the case of an adolescent. So when you say I'm a minority, you're saying I'm an adult that can't govern the circumstances or the affairs in my life. So I need a third party to bring me into this world because I'm too incompetent as a woman to do it myself.
Wow.
I need a third party to unite me as a man with my woman because I'm too incompetent to make my own private contract with her.
All right.
And as a man-child, I'm too incompetent to break up with my woman, so I need you as a third party to get involved to separate us. And damn it, I'm too ignorant to die properly. So I need you to also create one of those certificates so I can be sent to God the right way. And that is called a QSIP. On every death certificate, marriage certificate, or birth certificate, there is a thing called a QSIP, which is a Committee on Uniform Securities Identification Procedure on it. And the key word is security, which means it's a bond, which is a debt obligation that someone's getting paid for your existence, for your death, and for your marriage. And if you think I'm lying, they will not allow you to legally divorce if you owe property taxes. But they want you to get married, you gotta get along.
Right.
See, I'm trying to talk to you. Yeah. I joke around a lot. I joke around a lot because I don't want to walk around here talking to myself one day because I OD'd on books. So I joke. I act like I'm not as aware of things I'm aware of when I'm around a lot of our community. And you get mocked and you get ridiculed for the work that you put in for studying so much. We went through it in school. A lot of us was the ones that was like, nah, I'm not letting you teach. And a lot of smart people had to become gangsters because the niggas in class wanted to fight you if you ain't let them cheat. And some of y'all in here right now feel the shit. Don't go to the next one. I see the guilt. They squirming in this. But blood is thicker than water. So the laws that govern the waters is what they're using as a delegation when it comes to law. So they're using the laws that govern the seas on human beings. But blood is thicker than water. What's called agnation and cagnation. Your lineage from your mother's mother's mother and the lineage from your father's father. This is called agnation and cagnation. And if you show who and what you are based on DNA, I'm not talking about joining a community and someone tells you you're now a Native American and it's on paper and you feel fancy and fly and sophisticated because it's on paper yet you're still impoverished every day of the week. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when you get an actual DNA test from actual geneticists and they confirm that 75% of your blood or 80% of your blood is Nigerian. Our brother did it here. He found out he's Sudanese and then found out somebody in class is related to him. So when we do our blood test, then what we do, we have groupings in Nu-Covenant. We don't make you come under us, and then you become a new nationality. That's only part of the demonstration. Because according to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Article 15, clauses 1 and 2, clause 1 says you have the right to nationality, clause 2 says you have the right to change your nationality. So yes, we have the right to change our nationality, which is to say to identify ourselves as a specific group of people predicated upon our specific interests and needs based on the day and time in which we live. We have the right to change our nationality and call ourselves members of the First Republic of Nu-Covenant. That's us. However, you also need to establish who you was in the past, which is not who you are today, because you are only here by way of threat, duress, and coercion, or TDC. You are a victim of circumstance, living in your diaspora, suffering, and vulnerable, susceptible to the effects of an acculturation process, which is to say that you have saturated in your mind foreign ideas, foreign languages, and foreign concepts, because these were not what you was doing, or this was not how you was thriving previous to being here.
That's right.
So we also have to identify more what we was. And then what we do in the community, we take all the people who find out they're Nigerian here, and all the people who find out they're Sudanese here, and we put them into groupings. And then we make them as groupings of the same, create class action lawsuits if it suffices when it comes to mortgages or foreclosures and things of that nature, and say that you're doing this to harm the Sudanese people that have been kidnapped from Africa to America. You're doing this to the people that are Nigerian as a bias. You see, we do it because law isn't about execution more than it's about interpretation. It's your interpretation of the law that causes amendments to be created once you crack the code, and how to understand what's being said or how to use it to your better advantage. So blood is thicker than water. Who and what you are by blood can never be circumvented or undermined by their laws that govern the seas called Aboriginal. I got 3-4 slides left. Let's go to the next slide. So now you have membership can be monetized so long as it is a pledge. What does this mean? You can register the potential of a community in the form of GAAP, which is generally accepted accounting principles. These are called GAAP assets. And the people that do the recording for GAAP assets are IPHs, or intellectual property holders. A CPA will generate a financial statement. And what happens is the CPA will get the information from the intellectual property holders who are doing the recordation of the people that make up the community and the things that they say that they will benefit or contribute to the community. So the IPAs, or the intellectual property holders, turn this recordation over to the attorneys, the CPA. The CPA creates a financial, and the financial is turned over to the escrow agent, and the escrow agent creates a forward-looking statement. In this forward-looking statement, or prior to this forward-looking statement, the escrow agent executes the right of private placement, which is reminiscent to that of, and the allodial title, right? Or, pardon me, the escrow agent creates what's called a private placement, which is one's ability to create a credit line through the promises of the people that make up a community. How does this work? If you were to join PayPal right now, they say, thank you for joining our community. When you first got down with PayPal, they asked you how much you think you'll make month to month, or how much you think you'll make per year. They then take the promises of everybody that said, I think I'm gonna make 20 a year, I think I'm gonna make 50K a year, I think I'm gonna make only 1,000 a year. They take all those people's promises, consolidate it, turn it into an instrument and record it. And then a year from that time, they then recognize it as being 50% that of above its potential, below its potential, 30% above or below its potential, 10% above or below its potential. But then that ratio is quantified. It is then projected, and a forward-looking statement can be made where you can get credit from what people have contributed versus what they said they was going to do, what they actually did. And that contrast creates a credit line through people's promises to come up with something they didn't even have in the future. So 1 year from that time, that precipitates what's called a nation. Why is this important? People call themselves a nation, but you're not a nation unless you have what? Credit line. A nation has to have the ability to be in debt for it to be a nation. You have to have credit. Your nation has to have a line of credit in order to be a nation. You have to be able to go into debt. And it sounds weird, but you have to go into debt if you want to go to school. You have to go into debt if you want a car. You have to go into debt if you want a house. In fact, even if you got the money for all that, if you want to build credit, you have to be in debt. It's a debt wealth society. So in a debt wealth society that's international, if you want to be a nation, as a community, you have to go into debt, predicated upon your potential as far as finances is concerned. That's political action. And then in a country scale, they establish credit by way of what's called SDRs, which is special drawing rights. But for us on a community scale, it would be called private placement, and then we have a forward-looking statement that's created that reflects our potential from the past year, and while we qualify for X amount of monies this year as a whole community. You go to the next one. Okay, so our vision is an asset, where sovereignty is the conception. The generally accepted accounting principles are assets that you need. The CPA passes it over, just like I said, that turns into collateral assets to support the project that comes from the pledges. You go down, remember a vision is an asset best reflected by the project and its corresponding pledges. The length of the project or the years, products to make the revenue from, and how much more needed to meet goals as a race. Quantified means the project, the pledges, summation based on future value and assets. Future value assets are private placement, which turns into a contract, which in turn gets a QSIP, which then in turn gets registered by the DTC and becomes a permanent revolving line of credit for the community. Why do I bring this up? Because a lot of what we're trying to accomplish as a community takes money, but we're trying to do it $1 at a time. And everybody else is using credit like nations do and like communities do. So on another note, I'm just show you an example of a community endowment fund, because I said I would do that. And then I know that this is in Blood is Thicker Than Water book. So if you want to learn more about that, you can get the Blood is Thicker Than Water book. Let's go to the next one. And then we have this book here called Trust Me. We'll go over that at a different time. But basically, the trust is created just like religion. The person who creates the trust is like God. He's called the settler, right? But then, except for if it's a living trust. If it's a living trust, then the same party is the settler, the trustee, and the beneficiary, the same people. Because they're going to inherit the assets of the same, and they're going to protect the assets of the same. But if this is an irrevocable trust, just to fly through this, it's constructed like God and heaven and angels. Because the person who creates the trust only created it for the purposes of turning the power or the managerial status of the trust over to someone else. The purpose of the trustee as the manager is to see to it that the trust never accumulates negative asset value. This means that you have to properly fund the trust so your trust or your business can be worth something that you can in turn borrow against. Which means if you can retitle assets to your trust, it can be worth X amount of money, and then in turn you can use your trust as leverage in a conversation to get a loan or something in exchange. So with the trust, the person who creates it steps out of the equation for the rest of your life. It has nothing to do with it ever again for the rest of your life. That's the creator of the trust. So they turn over the responsibility to the trustee. Now here's the trick. The trustee is the one who's responsible for the trust being created, but didn't want the liability of having created the business because of the tax implications. So if you didn't want to be implicated based on doing business directly, you would then create a situation where someone else will create your business and legally turn over only the responsibilities of that business to you. You are not the creator, you got someone else to create it, and then legally say all the responsibilities are yours of the trust, and I'm just leaving. I only created this so you can have responsibility. So now what you're doing is controlling everything but owning nothing, voiding yourself of liability. So this is like God creating the planet, and no one's seeing God directly, but what they do is this. The trustee is the one who heard from God. He's the one that knows how to regulate the trust. You just have to believe he got the knowledge straight from the creator, because the creator is irrelevant from the time the trust was created. So the trustee is like the prophet of God, and the beneficiaries are the ones who promise dominion over the planet Earth, providing they follow the laws, statutes, and commandments of God. I don't even understand why these guys would have a 501c3 when they should have set up a trust since they into Judaism. I don't even get it. But we're going to go to the next one. But this is how you protect your assets. So you have a spend rate to stabilization ratio. This is in terms of a community endowment fund. And we as a community intend on having schools, intend on having farms, intend on having temples or religious or spiritual institutions. We cannot do it $1 at a time. It'll take too long. And we shouldn't do it $1 at a time. We can do it through insurance. Easily. With X amount of principal, there's a corresponding amount of liquid asset we can get, cash. So if you look at this is how community endowment fund will work. Per 20,000 or so, this is hypothetical, investments will be made into the endowment fund. By tradition, half of the fund would be equated or allocated towards equities or stocks, and the other half would deal with cash, as in the case of bonds. Then you have hedge funds and property that you invest in. The whole time I'm teaching about real estate, people are like, yo, we need schools. The whole time I'm teaching about real estate, they're like, we need our own hospitals. But if you look at Harvard's endowment fund, type that in Google when you get a chance. And look, any school endowment or any hospital endowment, you know what their main investment is? Real estate. So when I'm teaching about real estate, I am teaching so we can get the hospital, so we can get the school. But when you set up your schools that are successful, are only successful because they invest in real estate. And that's where they get the funding from. Okay? So now we see that investment advisors have to be paid. A percentage of the funds is for inflation. We'll explain that. 3 to 5%, 5% is real high. The 3 to 5% is for awards programs intended, which is called spend rate. Your spend rate is when you get your money back from what you invested in as a community. And from the money you get back, some of it is allocated towards inflation, meaning the value or the power of the dollar changes from year to year. So $20,000 today is going to be different 5 years from now. It might be worth $14,000 in this day and time, 10 years or 5 years from now. So you have to make accommodations for inflation when you're investing as a group perpetually year to year. Because the value of the dollar changes because the circumstances of investment is subject to change too. So now you have 3 to 5% of the money must go to what the fund was created for. So that may be for the school. So we got our money back. The principal was $20,000. Every $20,000 we're going to invest in the same type of stocks and equities, bonds, real estate. And then when we get the money back, a percentage has to be allocated to accommodate or make concessions to inflation. Another 3 to 5% has to be used on awards or services that we said that's just the whole reason why we rendered this whole responsibility in the first place. And then at last, you need a stabilization fund, which is part of the endowment fund. What is this for? In the event real estate changes, or the circumstances that revolve around bonds and equity exchange. We have the extra monies every year that we make from our investment being turned over or allocated. And that'd be about 15% out of the principal. So 15% of $20,000. Okay? So we're talking about 15% of $20,000, which is $3,000. So $3,000 is always going to get turned over every year. So let's say we make $20,000 back. $3,000 is always going to go to the side. In the event, 1 year, what we invest in doesn't do as good because the economy changes or real estate transpires, or hypothecation of mortgages is at an all-time high, then we're going to say, well, you know what? We've always been putting that money to the side to compensate so we can come up or employ a new strategy in the future. So that's what you have there. So this is the idea of a community endowment fund. I have more, but I'm going to have to close out so we can cut to a break, patronize the vendors. Hold on. Huh? No break. No, real quick. Hold on. No break. No break? The vendors got to do it. Yeah. Oh, we can do Q&A. What time is it? We got time though.
It's 7:55.
We gonna do a break. Y'all want Q&A?
Yeah.
Let's yeah, set it go back up. I got you. He gotta do what he gotta do. You want Q&A? Yeah. You want the event to keep going? Yeah. Get that life? Yeah. Oh, we got Star Rock coming back. He got something special. I can't spill the beans. I don't want to kill the end of the movie. Well, we got to patronize the vendors and show them love and support. We're going to talk about this community endowment fund, providing we get a chance to build with the people in here. But I want you to see all the vendors in here: Black and Nobel, the pills, Brother Iggy, who got the herbs, who's actually curing people of a number of things. The brother's actually wise and knows what he's doing. Get over there to Minister Iggy right there. He's making same interest live. Okay, we have Brother Mike, who got the hats over there, I believe, and the crystals. So Brother Mike is over there with the magic. And everybody in between. Go there, patronize. Of course, we got our food.